Wonder Man, and we've only watched the first 4 episodes, and so we are able to talk about all 4 episodes. Um, and I just want to start with an opening statement. Okay.
Okay.
I and this is kind of goes into like my overall opinion about this show. I am so glad that Simon and Trevor are good actors. That's it. That's it. Will, what were I
So
just they
yeah.
are so I like the idea
Mm,
that we are looking at two actors who are down on their luck, quote unquote. They're not A-list celebrities. One of them
nope.
is getting fired from jobs. One of them just got out of prison for a job. Um, and yet they are actually good. We see them in auditions. We see them
Yeah.
talking about acting and they are good. And then you have these sequences and it's just oh my god. There's one sequence in the second episode where they're just going back and forth like quote
Hmm.
after quote.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've missed you. I have missed you on my screen because you are so good. And now you're paired with Ben Kingsley, Sir Ben Kingsley. It's just thank you, MCU, because
Yeah.
I'm the acting was just so well, and these characters work so well with each other that I've been waiting.
Yeah.
I've been waiting for something like this, and I'm so glad it's here. But yeah, I'm just so glad they didn't make them bad actors. They made them actors who get in their own way.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like their love of acting is almost their detriment and
Yeah.
has
Yeah.
put them into these situations. So on that note, we'll take over.
Alrighty. So to me, this series, I felt like Kevin Feige and Seth Rogen sat down and they had at lunch and they said, you know what? Let's combine the Marvel universe with the studio.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cause it was just so meta. I mean, it was just when I was watching this, I was like, I was enjoying it, but I couldn't help but like with all the all the name drops and everything else, and it was just it really was just giving off the studio vibes for me so much, and I really enjoyed that show. But it worked. This series so far, at least the 4 episodes that we've watched to this point, it's under the Marvel spotlight.
Mhm. It's the best
And
spotlight they've done so far.
yeah, yeah, it is. It is. And so I'm kind of glad that, yeah, there's some they're clearly in references to the main MCU. Obviously with the Mandarin and the whole Iron Man 3 and all that. But was it 3 or 2? I'm trying to dismiss it along. But but yeah, I just really enjoyed it. And we were talking about the actors and thinking about the episode 2 when Joey Pants
Yep.
and Trevor, yeah, and how insulted they were when how Joey Pants was like treated a profession and all, but just from the start too, how
Well,
what I really liked was how Simon, he was doing all this prep for, he was a day player and doing all this prep and notes and trying to uh, get into the psyche of this character and then just sort of seeing things just sort of play out. And again, that's where I was like the studio vibes came in because it reminded me of like Matt Remick doing that kind of stuff. being a producer, but then like I got all these notes, I want to give it to yeah. So I really like this show.
So you touched on early the idea that there it's very meta, but it's
Mhm.
also not necessarily MCU meta.
Right.
And I think that's why it works so well,
Hmm.
because it's meta to the studio and to how Hollywood works, but the references have maybe been 5% or less MCU related, and like
Yeah.
95% are actually about Hollywood and the way
Yeah.
things work. Like one
Yeah.
of my favorite lines from the Joey Pants episode is, "Yeah, yeah, if I was British, they would have knighted me."
Yes.
I mean,
I
like
cracked
like
out loud. Yeah.
it's so clever,
Yeah.
and just like, yeah, yeah, okay. He has this ability. He's a big man. So the car scene,
Mm.
I think the car should have been a little bit smaller, but it was very funny to me to watch him park and then have to get all the way over into the passenger seat and then squeeze his way out of there. And like, that's one instance of physical comedy, and
Yeah.
yet constantly I feel as though we're watching him in these, trying to get the lines down, not necessarily memorized, but trying to understand them so they become off as natural. That
Hmm.
whole process that he has, it feels like you're watching a giant man trying to make himself smaller.
Yeah.
and it's funny. It's very funny, and he has this ability to do humor, but it's not like slapstick
Right.
either.
Yeah.
It's very much not. And the way he bounces off of Trevor, who honestly has more one-liners, but even Ben Kingsley can't come off as like, and now I'm going to tell my joke, and here's the
Right.
punchline. No, because they are just reacting to the world and these circumstances that they're put in. And like the whole the self-tape episode was just great,
Yeah.
because when Marcy comes in and tries to do the off-camera lines,
Yeah.
and they're
Yeah.
both they're both like, seriously.
Yeah.
Like, really? Why are but the you know what the irony is there, to go back to that opening sequence with Simon on the set of American Horror Story, he was kind
Mm.
of pulling a Marcy.
Yeah.
Kind
He
of
was.
pulling one.
He was.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
it's um so I guess, what was your favorite episode out of these four? Because I know what my least favorite was.
So, interestingly enough, and I'd heard people talk about it, but I have to say my mo- the one that I really got locked in was Doorman. Um, just because whenever Simon went to do the one audition, and they referenced the doorman waiver
Mhm.
and stuff, and I was like, huh. So yeah, so what's it about this doorman waiver?
Mhm.
And of course, it had the NDAs and all that kind of stuff too. But I think it. I mean, I liked all. I think overall, I liked all of the episodes. But it was just something about Doorman. It was just Simon, shows up there at the end, but just to see why this waiver happened, and it also why the Department of Damage Control is, I guess, to the larger Marvel universe or whatever. it does play back into that, because I think we saw that department in some of the post um, post end game films and TV shows. Just like the exploration of like how this affable guy just randomly ended up, you know, taking the trash out, ends up with powers, and then and Josh Gad and all, it's just all the things that was going on there, and then just it was like it reminded me of like the old Behind the Music shows on VH1,
Yeah.
where you
Yeah.
had the rise and the fall of someone,
Yeah, they did that
and
very well with Mario
yeah,
Lopez.
yeah, yeah.
I
So yeah, yeah. So I think
I
that's why that one really worked for me. Really worked for
yeah,
me.
ironically, this was my least favorite.
Yeah.
And that's not to say it's a
No.
bad episode.
Yeah.
It's a good episode because
Mhm.
we needed a break from the main
Yeah.
story.
Yeah.
But at the same time, the whole time I was like, "Oh, we're doing a flashback to this. Okay, that makes sense. We're going to
Mhm.
explore this because they've mentioned it now a few times." So,
Yeah.
writing wise it makes sense, but then it kept going and kept going and I was like, "Oh, this is the entire episode."
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But and it was fine. And like I said, I really adore this show. So
Mhm.
me saying that was my least favorite is not saying that much at all.
Yeah.
It just was, and it's more or less the oddball in the fact that there were not a lot of scenes between Ben Kingsley and
Yeah.
in this one. So
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
was like, okay. But I think that to your point, there was a dual purpose
Mhm.
that you don't immediately understand as a viewer, but now that we're talking about it, it's kind of been highlighted for me, is that it first serves a purpose of recognizing why Simon views how he views his powers,
Mhm.
especially when he's not someone with powers who wants to be a hero. He wants to
Right.
be an actor.
Yeah.
And yet that very thing now, as a result of the whole doorman saga, is prohibited.
Yeah.
It's not condoned, and it puts him at risk, and it's put him on a list now
Mhm.
too. Um, and then, and that's the flip side of it. It also explores more about what they've been hinting at in terms of the damage control department in LA and their
Yeah.
incentive to have more control over these super powered individuals. So I mean, we're dealing with LA, we're dealing with Hollywood. So
Yeah.
of course, and you know, the police protect those with money. So
Yes, they do.
they
Yep.
do.
Yep.
They do. So it's a very good thing, very well done. And that's the other thing. Besides the acting that I could go hours and hours on about, but the writing.
Yeah.
They are doing a very similar thing to what we've been talking about for the last few weeks with A Night of the Seven Kingdoms, where there are lines that they don't like suddenly play music to make sure the viewer understands this is an important thing. No,
Mhm.
there's just subtleness happening where there's little hints at stuff. And so you have it in the back of your mind, but other hijinks ensue, and before you know it, we're talking to Joey Pants,
Yep.
and then you forget about it, and then but it's something that they are going to definitely bring up again because everything's important. There, I don't. Granted, granted, it's a half-hour show, much like A Night of the Seven Kingdoms, so there's not
Mhm.
a lot of time for fluff. But I love this
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
they
Same. Same.
everything's important. So you have to pay attention, but at the simultaneously, it's a very simple story.
Mhm.
Just like and so that was the other big takeaway I had. I was like, wow, I can't wait for Will to watch this because man, when he does, we did it again. We're watching two shows could be in very different universes, yet somehow they're doing the same thing for their respective universes very well.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
and it's just so refreshing.
It really is. It really is. And the other, I think Doorman was my favorite, like I said, but the other episode, the third episode where they're in Pasimonia, the town with the birthday party
The
for Sal's
Cleveland
mom.
with palm trees.
The Cleveland with palm trees, yeah, and
Mhm.
probably I'm sure I'm mispronouncing the name of the town, but seeing Simon's family because we did get early in the first episode we see and I like the way they use the flashbacks just to like
Yep.
frame things.
Yep.
And so we see him the B movie Wonder Man just to sort of put just the whole framing of this is Simon he's sitting there with his dad eating popcorn and stuff, and then we get the story about we learn about the powers because he had the incident with the stove, and then we see it with the family and the brother, and the dynamics between Simon and his brother, and just you know, when are you going to get a real job, and just all the things, and Simon bringing Trevor, Trevor got an invite to the cookout.
Hmm.
and but the invite was um you know it was there to like be
He
a
was
kind of a
forced
buffer.
to.
Yeah, he was well, both. Trevor had his reason. Trevor had the damage control reasons, but also Simon had his reasons that he just needed a buffer because he was just trying to like because he knew especially once we saw the shit that he was getting from his brother, he didn't want the whole thing about the American Horror Story to like come out because his mom's excited
Right.
and all that, and yeah, so there was that, and then also just they really just went into the fact that they're Haitian. They didn't try to hide it, as far as
See, that's
their
what I was gonna bring up.
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
I I and I had captions on, and so
mm,
I really appreciated whenever they spoke in Haitian, it would
yeah,
just say Haitian.
yeah.
So I don't know what they
It's like,
said
yeah, no, I
either.
got it too. It's like Haitian Creole. I was like, okay.
Yeah, yeah, I was just like, "Damn it." I wanna know what they're saying. But all of their responses now, I don't it was made very clear to me that Simon didn't necessarily want Trevor there, even though, yeah, he
Yeah,
said
yeah,
after the whole idea was raised
yeah,
by Trevor to go, he was
hmm
like, "Oh, you could be my buffer." But
yeah,
Simon also clearly didn't even understand how to utilize Trevor as a buffer, and
right,
that
right,
goes to something his mom brings up in the episode is this is the first time my
hmm
son has ever brought a friend. And
yep,
so the I found it really interesting. I think they're doing a great job with just the exploration of who Simon is.
yes, I agree.
Because we continue because it's an evolution and his powers, we don't even necessarily see his powers until the second episode.
hmm
We see hints and we
right,
know,
yeah,
but we don't see it, and it's just this evolution, and then the third episode opens with the 13-year-old flashback,
hmm
not to the fire, but to the events after the fire, and which is kind of not just a very important moment for Simon, but as you can see, his relationship with his mom and his brother,
yeah,
because the resentment didn't start when they chose career paths. It started all
no,
the way back then.
yep,
And and then his mom continues, as parents tend to do,
yep,
to
we
just
do.
be ignorant and just shield. Yeah, and even if they know, they're like, I don't want to know. I
Yep,
just want my and and the but the mom says I don't think that there was a scene between her and Simon that really stuck out as a great mom and son moment. And yet we still understand his relationship because of everything she tells Trevor.
Hmm.
And so, in that sense, from a viewer perspective, Trevor did a great job as a buffer.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
Because we learned so much about Simon through
We
those
do.
conversations.
Yep. Agreed. Yeah. That was what I really liked. That was another standout moment for me as well, as far as really getting to know this character through that conversation, and then and
Yeah.
and then and then we the and then also just like you said, it was clear that the tension between the two brothers didn't just start as adults, and yeah, and just sort of seeing those family dynamics. I mean, it was just it was very authentic, as far as like um whenever Simon gave his mom the birthday present, and then the
Yep.
brother was just like, oh yeah, yeah, well, just all the things that felt came from that. And so yeah, but um yeah, so that was a really strong moment for this episode. I mean, it really is just like, Marvel. It really, I just feel like, I know it took us, we didn't watch this first because we were finishing up Fallout, um, but Marvel, Disney did undersold this series. I don't know if they didn't know how to market it, or where the failing was. I mean, we just saw yesterday with the Super Bowl how difficult they can be with marketing things, with Mando. But I feel like I did. I've been pleasantly surprised, because I really didn't have any expectations going into this show at all. I mean, I don't know hardly anything about this character as far as from the comics. And I mean, I know they did a race swap and stuff, but as far as beyond that, I really don't know anything about Simon Williams. So I have been very pleasantly surprised by this series so far, and I'm hoping that it definitely, with the next four episodes, it sticks to landing, because it is really good, and I'm hopeful. If it does indeed stick to landing, I'm hoping we'll see this character show up in some other, either season two spotlight shows, or in the larger universe. But
Um,
but hopefully keeping what we've gotten of this character so far, if he does like show up in a larger MCU.
so I need a episode to explain the porter potty explosion that happened on the set of The Rookie. That was
Yes.
mentioned. I
Yep.
took note of that. I need
Yep.
more details and understanding. Classic Trevor line was, then I took a role to pose as a terrorist to pay for my drug and prostitution debts.
Yeah. That was another
That was
great
a bit
line.
explicit.
Yeah.
Bit explicit. Thank you, mommy, for loving me. Great line. And
Yep.
just the whole aspect of a mother who, again, and she even calls herself out on it. She's like,
Hmm.
I didn't realize how alone he was and that he felt it.
Hmm.
And oh, it's just, that was such a good moment.
Yeah.
Very well acted. And then that later on in that episode, you get the, maybe it's time to admit that it's never going to be me. I'm no Wonder Man. Um,
Yeah.
okay.
But also, yeah, to
Wait,
that
I
point.
got
Yeah.
more, Will. I got more.
Oh, okay. Okay. Go
Here
ahead.
we
Go
go.
ahead.
Here we go. Here we go. I'm sorry. I forgot about this one. How could I forget? I'm here code switching and everything.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Oh my god. That was so good. I already said the Trevor pants. It's the single most consequential thing anyone could do with their life.
Hmm.
Parentheses acting. It's so important. It's so
Yep.
important. Oh my god. I'm
Yeah.
just oh, this is a classic Von Kovac one.
Mm.
Human and spectacular. And that's where this film needs to live. Human and spectacular. Spectacle. Should be spectacle, just say.
Yeah.
Shout out. I'm hopefully we see some audition for the Rock musical.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah.
One in Doorman that was Josh Gad, and it's like, I can't act, and it's never stopped me from being an actor.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
Go through me. Go through me.
Yeah.
I think he's saying to go through him.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep.
Yeah. It's just the writing's
Yeah.
on point, the acting's on point, and so far within the first half of the season, it's consistent. And based on our previous conversations about A Night of the Seven Kingdoms and other shows, when we use that term in relation to a show, it's a good thing. It's what we want.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because some seasons of TV have great episodes, and that's all people think about. But then you look at the full length of the season, and it's like, yeah, but that was one of 7.
Yeah.
So when you can have consistency, that's a strong season of television.
Indeed, it is. It really is.
Well, on that note, Will, why don't you tell our listeners where they can find you?
Yes, you can find me on all the socials at Will M. Polk, WILLMPOLK.
And you can find me there too at SJ Belmont, SJBLMONT. Please follow our crew on Twitter, formerly known as, or on X, formerly known as Twitter, at Scene and Nerd, on Blue Sky. Find us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram and Threads at scene_n_nerd, and visit our website, www.sceneandnerdpodcast.com. But most importantly, rate, follow, and comment on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you get podcasts. Good night, Geek Out. You're welcome.